everyone, this is Sasha bringing you a video tutorial today from BP4U. Today we are going to talk about some menus. So I've got some menus up here and we have already gone over the filter menus, so if you haven't watched that video yet, then I would encourage you to take the time to watch that separately. So we're going to go from right to left. First we have our help button, our help menu here. You can get some updates for your Photoshop elements here. You can deactivate your account here. You can register your product. We've got some legal notices, the about. This is getting started, key concepts, supports, videos, tutorials, and forum, as well as a help document. So this is all information here on how to use Photoshop elements and more insight and overview to that. So here we have our window menu, and you can find anything that you need here. So if you're looking for your adjustments window and you can't find it, you just click there and your adjustments window will pop up. If you are looking for a histogram, you can go ahead and you can pop that up. If you're looking for whatever it is that you're looking for, your layers window, you can go ahead and you can pop that up. So anything that you need, you can find it in the Windows box. So here we have our view. We can zoom in, we can zoom out, we can fit the screen actual pixels, we can do our print size, we can add a grid, we can remove a grid, we can use our rulers, or we can remove the rulers. We already have a separate video tutorial on the filter. Here we have how we can do some selections. Right now we can select all, and Control D will deselect that for you. Maybe if I made a marquee tool here, then I could go ahead and I could come in here and do something called Refine Edge. I can use this to smooth my edge, I can use it to feather, or I can use it to expand or contract my selection. And what these tools do is they help to give you a more refined, more precise edge to your photo. So let's go ahead and Control D. Over here we have our layer, so we can add a new layer, and we can add just a blank layer, or we can add a background copy or a copy of the layer that we're currently working on. And you can see there's keyboard shortcuts for that. Here we can duplicate a layer that we're using. Here we can add a fill layer, which would be a solid color, gradient, or pattern. Most often you're going to use a solid color or gradient, so there would be a solid color, and here we could add a gradient. And most common, I find myself using gradients for making vignettes. And so I would want to change this color here to black. And so this bottom one here controls the color. The top one here controls the opacity. And so I can see here my opacity is at 100%. So I could go ahead and click OK. I would want to change it to radial, and I would want to reverse that. I still see some blue in there. Right here my color is still blue. So I'm going to change that to white. And I'm going to make sure that my opacity here is 0%, which it is. And then I can use this angle and these scale buttons here to kind of refine my vignette a little bit. And then I would want to change my blend mode here to soft light. Another reason why blend modes are important. And so there I made a nice vignette using a gradient fill. Here you can make a new adjustment layer, just like we can do down here. And you can flatten your image here. And that's going to smush all of these layers onto the background layer. Also, if you just select all of your layers and you hit Control E on your keyboard, that will also flatten your layers together. That's just a little keyboard shortcut that I find to be very helpful to myself most of the time. More often than flattening my image, I go ahead and I select my layers by clicking on the bottom layer, hitting Control Shift, and then clicking on the top layer, and then Control E or Command if you're using a Mac. So next here we have Enhance. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to duplicate my background layer. The reason why I duplicated my background layer for this is because, for example, let's click on Auto Levels. It made it right here on this background layer. It does not make new adjustment layers like the adjustments that we have here. This works directly on the background layer. And so we have an Auto Smart Fix, Auto Levels, Auto Contrast, Auto Color Correction, Auto Sharpen. We have Auto Red Eye Fix, Adjust Smart Fix, Adjust Lighting, Adjust Color, Convert to Black and White, Unsharp Mask, and Adjust Sharpness. So here we have this Smart Fix here, and you can kind of see as we pull it sort of to the right, it does more of its fixing. And so you could decide whether you like that or not. So here we have a before and an after, and actually that really did a pretty good job of fixing our photo by bringing down some of the highlights while still preserving our midtones and not making our skin tones look funny. So we'll go ahead and take that. Here we have our Photoshop is loading. And so we have some really great tools here. Under Adjust Color and Adjust Lighting, we have second menus that pop up here. This one's pretty explanatory. We have Shadows, Highlights, Brightness, Contrast, and Levels. And here we have Remove Color Cast, Adjust Hue, Saturation, Remove Color, Replace Color. And here we have the Photoshop Elements version of curves. Now, typically speaking, Photoshop Elements does not use curves. If you buy an action from a designer that has a curves adjustment layer, you're going to get an error message that pops up that says that basically it doesn't work in Photoshop Elements. But right here in Photoshop Elements, we can use the sliders to adjust our tone curve. And so here you can see that we're working on the highlights. You can work on the midtones, the contrast, and then we have some kind of like presets over here where you can click on these and they will sort of adjust that curve for you. And so you can play with how you want that to look. So next over here we have Image. We can rotate our picture 90 degrees left, 90 degrees right. 180 degrees would flip it upside down. We can flip our picture horizontal. We can flip it back first. We can flip it vertically. And so you can use these rotate tools here to move your picture pretty much any way that you need to in order to get the effect that you are looking for. So here under Transform, we can transform our picture. We can skew, distort, or give it a new perspective. This isn't too often a tool that you're going to use for an entire picture, but it is available to you. Here we can crop, we can recompose, we can divide, we can resize. Now resizing is important here. Let's go ahead and click on the image size. Right now we're set to inches. We can do percent, and you could make the picture a certain percent lower or higher. than what you are wanting to look at. Right here we have our resolution, which is 300. Up here we have our pixel count, and so you can see our pixels. And if I was to make the picture 50% of the original, then my pixel count would go down when I went ahead and I resized that. If I click on this resample image, you can see that now my pixel count has gone down, but if I bring it back up to 100, you can see that that is going back up. Or I can go ahead now and I can decide how many pixels that I want my picture to be, and you can see the percent now that that would come out to be. So we have here under edit, we can undo so many moves here, and Control Z will also help you go back a certain amount of steps. You can revert your picture to the original. If we were to undo something, you could redo it here, or you could use Control or Command Y. You've got cut, copy, copy merged, paste, paste into selection, delete. You've got fill layer, stroke, define pattern. So let's go ahead and we can come in here and we can fill the selection, and you can use a foreground color, a background color, a pattern, black, white, or gray. So you have menus inside of different areas as well. So if I right click in here, I can add a blur just inside of this area. I can feather it. I can select the inverse, which is now all of this out here is selected. And I can make an extra layer using that copy as well. And then of course we have File New, File Open, Open As, and open a recent document. We can duplicate, close, save, save for web. We can place, which we would use if we were making a composite. We would go to File, Place, and that would allow us to open up another file, a watermark, another picture, anything that we wanted to place on top of the photo. We would do it right there with the File, Place button. We can organize our open files. We only have one open right now, so we don't have to worry about that. We can import, export, print, order prints if you had a print lab set up there. So that goes through all of our menus. Again, here we've got the menus up here, and then we have menus when we right click using different tools. And we have menus over here when we right click as well. And so again, if I wanted to flatten my image, I could just right click on this top layer and I could flatten my image. I could merge down, merge visible, select similar layers. I could delete this layer, duplicate the layer, or rename it. So that is all of our menus that we have here. So thank you so much for watching this video tutorial. Happy editing!